You're welcome.
Thank you,
Love
ma'am.
you. Goodbye.
Good morning. It is 10 o'clock. I am going to go ahead and get started in order to respect your time as well as my own. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and get started again. My name is Alan Jones. I serve as the staff for the Commission on Local Government. This is the fiscal impact training for volunteers. There's just going to be some standard meeting rules I'll lay out before we get started. This meeting is being recorded, and so it will be posted after this. It'll be posted on the website as well as on the DHCD YouTube. And so if you have some folks that you've known that wanted to be present and could not make it, they'll be able to go back and see this recording.
Hello.
Next, if you have any questions, please state your name before speaking. And then third is please mute yourself when not speaking. We're going to talk about the purpose of the fiscal impact statements, but we'll start with the statute. Section 30-19.03 of the Code of Virginia requires that the Commission on Local Government, to the extent practical, perform fiscal impact analysis on bills that require expenditure or result in reduction of revenue. And so any bill that impacts localities that either increases their expenditure or decreases their revenue, the Commission on Local Government is responsible for submitting a fiscal impact statement. So the way that works is you lovely volunteers have volunteered your time, talent, and expertise to fill out these estimates for us. I'm not going to read that whole quote, but the two things that I wanted to highlight are the word estimate and the affected localities. A lot of these fiscal impact statements are estimates. I will not be checking your math. I will defer to you because you know your localities better than I do. And then also the affected localities. Every bill may not affect every locality. And so if you receive a fiscal impact statement and it doesn't affect your locality, I would still ask that you fill it out and you can put does not affect my locality. Okay. I'll get into that a little bit more as we go a little further. What are these good for? Legislators and lobbyists use these to inform decisions and testimony. Essentially, the General Assembly is not fond, and most people aren't fond of unfunded mandates. And so giving a fiscal impact statement will allow folks to understand whether or not some of the policies that they're considering are unfunded mandates. The second part is your analysis is a individualized data point. And so we're not necessarily looking for like a state average. We're just looking for how it may affect your particular locality. And then third, it's used to differentiate between cities, counties, and towns, any potential fiscal impacts. One thing that it's also used for is if it's an unfunded mandate, it can potentially stop a bill, but it can also help move bills along. The broadband bill a few years ago didn't have an effect, didn't have a fiscal impact on localities, and so they were able to move that legislation along quicker through committee and get it passed. And so the work that you do is very pivotal for the General Assembly in getting policy passed. Volunteer roles and responsibilities. One is monitoring FIS assignments. For anyone who's registered, you should have received an email from noreply@dhcd.virginia.gov. It would have had a password in your email. You're going to get in your inbox FIS assignments as they are assigned to me. What essentially happens is the Department of Planning and Budget assigns me bills that I then have to compare to the statute, and then I will send those out to you all based on your committee assignments. You'll complete those estimates within a given time frame. It's normally about 48 hours, and then you'll submit those FIS estimates through that committee portal, through the commission review portal. One thing is if you have not received your password, please let me know through an email and I can make sure that you get that as soon as possible. This is what the portal will look like when you log in. you have your email address and password. Again, you should have gotten an email from noreply@dhcd.virginia.gov. If you have not, please email me. If you've already volunteered in the past, you already have a password, and so you can just click that forgot password button if you don't remember it, and you can create a new password for this upcoming session. When you registered as a volunteer, there were 4 categories that you signed up for. It was finance, education, local government, and general laws. You can see those 4 categories are a number of committees. And so when a bill is assigned, it will normally be assigned a committee, and then that will go into that volunteer category. If you want to change your volunteer category, please send me an email and I can change that for you. But you can see it here. Finance is normally finance, commerce and labor, appropriations, education. It's pretty self-explanatory. Local government is agriculture, transportation, and then general laws is sort of the catch-all, everything else. One quick note, again, our system does not differentiate between specific localities that are called out in specific legislation. And so let's say if there's a transportation bill that is that highlights a particular planning district, let's say it's planning district 8, which is Northern Virginia, the system does not allow me to just send it out to the planning district 8 folks. And so it'll go out to all of the folks who signed up for the local government category. If you're not specifically in that planning district, you can just say, hey, this bill doesn't apply to us or it has no impact. And that's perfectly fine if you submit a FIS that way. Are there any questions so far? None. I'll continue. Here's an overview of the fiscal impact template. You're going, like I said, you're going to get an email from me once I go into the system as I receive these bills. It'll have your email. It'll say no reply. It'll say HB. Where it says test, you'll normally get a number. It could even say SB, whether it's a House bill or a Senate bill. It'll say it's been referred to the Commission on Local Government. It'll have a link to the LIS website as well as to the Commission portal for you to submit your estimates. Once you go in, this is what the estimate template will look like. You'll need to identify your locality, whether you're a town, a county, or a city. You'll also have to, if you're an other, so we also have PDCs that submit these as well. So you'll put whether you're in a planning district or what have you, you'll list the name of your locality, and then whether this analysis is for a House bill or a Senate bill. Again, if the bill is HB 44, it's House Bill 44, so that's a House bill. If it's SB, it's a Senate bill. So that's how you'll know the difference between the two. The next page you'll need to, that's just a better view of that. Then you'll have this estimate. You'll for the expenditures, you'll need to determine whether it's a one-time or recurring cost, whether it's personnel, operating capital, or other. And then you'll also do the same for any one-time sort of one-year enhancement. And so then you'll give a brief narrative of how you got to that estimate. If you have the methodology, that is great. Again, these are just estimates. And the time frame is very quick. It's 24 to 48 hours. And so you may not have a ton of time. And so I would ask that you just make your best guess possible as to some of these financial impacts on your localities. As far as the narrative goes, I'll reiterate this again. The narrative is just explaining how you arrive to your estimate. Any additional sort of explanation or editorializing will be edited out. So if you put something like, this is a terrible bill, or this is a great bill, that type of information will be removed once it's compiled and submitted. You'll do the same thing for revenue. I believe the form only allows positive values. And so if you enter something in as a net revenue change, I will take that as a negative number, okay? I don't believe the form allows you to put negatives in. And you'll do the same thing. You'll write a brief narrative explaining how this is causing a reduction in your revenue for your locality. Again, fiscal impact analysis, what makes good analysis? What part of the budget is impacted for your locality? whether it's direct operating or capital cost, net reductions. You can also, and again, these are net reductions and net expenditures, so you'll factor in any savings. Also, another thing to note, you're only looking at the 2-year biennial budget cycle. And so if it has a lasting impact after the sort of the first 2 years, that's not necessarily considered in the analysis that we're looking at. So it's only going to be for the 2 fiscal years that are listed on that page. Then you also check the legislation's timing and impact. Some bills can have a prior action, accelerate or decelerate implementation. So if the bill passes, it may say, January of 2027. And so make sure that your fiscal analysis actually starts in that year. Here the analysis goes. Please have succinct writing, timely submissions. Again, they can be as short as 24 hours, but normally they'll be 48 to 72 hours on most bills. Please make sure that information is as accurate as possible. Please include any relevant materials related to the fiscal impact of those bills. Please come to reasonable conclusions, and then do your best to provide thorough research and how you got to those estimates. Here's some last minute tips and tricks. Please put a narrative response, even if it's this bill does not apply to my locality. Again, every data point is helpful. And it allows the legislators to make the best possible policy possible. Please only consider the impact on your locality. If it has no impact, please explain why it doesn't have an impact. If it does have an impact, please do your best to explain that as well. Include only objective analysis. Again, if you have this is a bad bill or this is a bad idea, that will be edited out. Some analysis is better than no analysis. SWAG is an acronym that you'll often hear. It's a scientific wild ass guess. And so you're the subject matter experts. Please do your best. Even if like I said, if you can't come up with the exact methodology for how you arrive at that number, but it's going to have an impact, please do your best. You're the subject matter experts for your localities. Please do your best to come up with as clear a number as you possibly can. And then if you need any help, please reach out. Any portals, anything else. If you have any need a gut check response on anything, I'm always here to serve as a help to you all. Are there any final questions? If not, here's my contact information. You can go to the DHCD website for a lot of these FIS information. It'll have the presentation on there. It's going to have what makes a good estimate guide. It'll have FIS process and instructions on there as well. And then you have my contact information. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, snide remarks, or pithy sayings, you can please feel free to email me, or you can call me as well. Okay. There are a number of bills that I've already received. And so for those volunteers, I want to say again, thank you so much for your time, for volunteering your time and your talent. Again, this process would not be possible without you. Are there any further questions that anyone may have?
Alan, real quick, I've got a question. Jonathan Sweet, Pulaski County. I just want to make sure I get so many emails every day. I want to make sure I've got a lookout at what exactly how will these be phrased, or how will they come in via email?
Yes. So I'll go back to that slide real quick. They're going to come in through no reply at dhcd.virginia.gov. And it'll normally, it will probably have HB or SB and then the number of the bill.
So it'll say no reply, but we're going to reply to the no reply.
So once you receive that email, you'll go through the link in the portal to submit your FIS.
Gotcha. All right.
So once you get the bill, once you click that link, it'll go into the portal and it'll show you the breakdown of that bill.
So technically, all we need to do is check our portal routinely. We don't really need we just check our portal, and what you want each one of us to do will be in our portal.
It should be. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done this a couple of years. I just want to make sure nothing's changed.
Yes, sir. So you can check the portal or you can check your email, either one.
Roger.
But they'll be assigned to you in the portal, or they'll be assigned to you in the email.
Okay.
All righty. Any other questions? If not, again, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for, again, volunteering. This process is not possible without volunteers like you willing to offer your expertise. Again, all of this information will be sent out to you as well as posted on the website. If you have any additional questions, if something comes up later, please feel free to reach out. I'm always available. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.